Finding direction. How to discover your purpose when nothing feels right. I want to start by highlighting something most motivational conversations completely overlook: the feeling of uncertainty. Not the dramatic crisis, the film version of the existential moment, with its clear catalyst, single turning point, and resolution that arrives on cue. The quieter, more persistent, and genuinely disorienting experience is moving through your days with a vague but constant sense that something is not quite right. That you are living a life that is, by most measures, perfectly acceptable, and that something within you knows it is not yet yours. That the path you have been on has been chosen more by default than by genuine desire. That the things meant to feel meaningful often feel, more than anything, just fine. Or maybe it is less subtle than that. Perhaps the feeling is more intense, the specific pain of a life redirected by loss, change, or the end of something that once provided direction and is now gone. The career that has ended, the relationship that once defined the days is no longer there. The chapter that closed without a new one yet opening. The person you were in a previous season of life, reliable and familiar, no longer quite fits the person you are becoming. Whether it's the gentle drifting or the more intense loss of clarity, the fundamental experience stays consistent. You're seeking a direction that isn't yet clear. When no obvious way forward exists, the world provides numerous pieces of advice. Find your passion, follow your heart, discover your purpose, as if these are objects waiting to be found. Like keys hidden under the couch, tangible, specific, and accessible if you look in the right spot. Those offering this advice are correct, that purpose and direction exist, but they may not be using the right approach to find them. They don't come from simply looking for them. Instead, they emerge from living by moving not confidently toward a fixed goal, but with genuine awareness into the territory of your own experience. It involves learning to interpret the signals your life already provides about what matters most to you, what attracts you, and what makes you feel truly alive. Recognizing that direction isn't a single destination to be discovered and then maintained forever, but rather an ongoing practice of attentive orientation. Purpose isn't a treasure hidden in a fixed spot, waiting for the right map to discover. Instead, it's like a tide that reveals itself gradually, guiding us through engagement rather than mere contemplation. You don't find your direction by staying still until it appears. Rather, attention involves moving, paying attention, and following the authentic signals your own experience provides. Trust that each honest, focused step will lead to the next, nothing more, nothing less. The next step is always sufficient. Today, we'll identify that step together, not in theory, but in the actual, honest, immediately actionable part of your real life. This is one of the most personal conversations I can have. Let's get started. Why it's hard to find direction, understanding the true causes. Before we can identify the right direction, we must understand why it's so difficult to find. Because the challenge has specific, clear causes, understanding these causes makes navigating them straightforward rather than obscure. The issue with noise. The primary challenge in discovering true direction is the overwhelming amount of external influences. These include cultural stories about which paths are deemed valuable in life, as well as implicit and explicit social expectations about what someone of your age, background, and circumstances should be doing with their life. Moreover, there is constant comparison to others' visible paths, which are often curated and presented to appear more certain, purposeful, and fulfilling than one's own current experience. This noise isn't malicious. It mostly originates from people who care about you and wish you well. Still, it's very hard to hear your true inner voice, the quiet, personal sense of what you genuinely want and find meaningful because of all the external noise about what you should desire, societal values, the definition of success, and what others have already accomplished. Finding true direction begins with the ability to differentiate your own inner signal from external noise. It involves listening beyond the loud societal consensus about what constitutes a purposeful life and tuning into the quieter, more personal voice of what truly excites you. Ask yourself, what genuinely engages you? What do you care about deeply, beyond what you feel you should care about? This key distinction between your authentic inner voice and external expectations you've internalized is the primary navigation challenge. Remarkably, very few people are explicitly taught how to recognize it. The issue of pressure. The second challenge involves the particular type of pressure linked to questions of purpose and direction. Culturally, life purpose is often seen as something to be discovered, something grand, unique, and once identified, providing steady motivation. However, this perspective is flawed and can actually hinder the genuine process of determining one's direction. The idea is flawed because people often regarded as exemplars of purposeful living rarely follow a straight path. They didn't discover one ultimate purpose all at once and cling to it for their entire lives. Instead, they pursued genuine curiosity and involvement, progressing through various stages, each one developing from the last and uncovering the next through experience rather than premeditation. Their direction emerged from living itself, not from setting a predetermined course. The pressure to discover the ultimate purpose, the one that makes everything clear, motivated, and aligned, can be harmful because it hinders the very movement needed to find direction. Waiting to feel completely purposeful before acting leads to long delays, as purpose is not a precondition but a result of action. Action must come first, and clarity will follow. This pressure to feel clear before taking action is a trap that causes many genuine seekers to remain stuck in questions instead of progressing toward answers. The problem of identity. The third obstacle is highly personal and often overlooked. It concerns the self that has not yet gained enough self-awareness to determine what it genuinely desires. Most individuals have never genuinely learned to understand themselves. They are aware of their preferences in obvious situations such as favorite foods, entertainment choices, and social environments. However, at a deeper level, questions like what kind of contribution they feel compelled to make, what experiences they seek in daily life, or which pursuits they would prioritize if truly free to choose, often remain unexplored. This inner self-awareness tends to be superficial, incomplete, and frequently obscured by layers of others' expectations, cultural norms, or identities they have temporarily adopted but haven't fully released even when those identities no longer suit them. Someone who lacks a clear understanding of themselves cannot discover their true purpose, as genuine direction fundamentally stems from the authentic self. The correct path for an individual is the one that resonates with their true identity, including their core values, real strengths, authentic way of engaging with the world, and genuine sources of purpose and energy. Without accurate self-awareness, seeking direction is like trying to find a key without knowing which lock it opens. The effort may be honest, but the results will likely be accidental. The true path to direction begins with deep self-awareness. This isn't about external assessments like personality tests, career quizzes, or the stories you share in introductions. Instead, it requires sincere, continuous, compassionate attention to your personal experience. This means understanding what truly sparks your interest, what leaves you feeling energized, and what depletes you. It also involves noticing long-standing interests and desires that have remained hidden but are always present, often overlooked amid the chaotic, fast-paced search for purpose. The problem of fear. Fear is the fourth obstacle, rarely discussed in polite conversations about finding purpose, yet it most persistently keeps people lost. It's not the obvious, dramatic fear of failure, although that exists, but a subtler fear, the fear of commitment. This includes fear of choosing a path and shutting off other options, fear of being wrong or investing in a course that may not be right, and fear of being seen, making decisions visible and accountable to others, and judged accordingly. Perhaps the deepest fear is the one related to the full engagement that true commitment entails. Genuine dedication to a meaningful goal requires resources, focus, and sustained effort, which cannot be maintained if the commitment remains hesitant and the direction unclear. The lack of a clear direction may be frustrating, but it also provides a kind of comfort. Someone who hasn't chosen a specific path yet can't be judged for making the wrong decision as they haven't committed to a particular route. They can't be compared to a standard for a path they haven't announced, nor held responsible for intentions they haven't expressed. While the obscurity can be confusing, it also shields us. A crucial step toward finding real direction is the willingness to relinquish that protection, moving into the tangible, visible, and committed, even if we're not entirely sure this will be the final choice. Understanding the true nature of direction, debunking common myths. Before we can discover our true path, we need to release the misconception of direction that has been hiding it. The usual idea of life direction as a single, clear purpose or a destined, certain calling is not only misleading but also prevents us from realizing a more accurate understanding that could lead to genuine discovery. Direction is not a final goal. It is a perspective or orientation. The idea of direction as a destination, a specific place you're aiming to reach, a fixed point guiding your life, is a very narrow and restrictive way of searching. It prompts, "Where am I heading?" Without a clear answer, the person becomes stuck. Since the destination isn't visible yet, movement cannot begin. The map remains blank, and the traveler stays still. The metaphor of direction as an orientation differs from a simple destination. It signifies a general trajectory or persistent pull toward a quality of experience, contribution, or engagement that feels more authentic than other options. An orientation doesn't require knowing the exact endpoint, it's enough to sense, based on how your current experience feels, whether you're moving toward what matters to you or drifting away. Today's step aims to help you become more aware of what you genuinely find meaningful or what feels less aligned. The orientation model of direction allows navigation without a full map. It relies on only the current step and honest feedback on whether that step is correctly aligned. This feedback, immediate, intuitive, and sincere awareness of experience, is always accessible. It doesn't reveal the final destination, but provides a signal about the current course. Direction is not simply given, it is created. The passive approach to finding direction, waiting for the call, the purpose, or clarity to suddenly appear, is the most effective way to prevent establishing any clear direction. Instead, direction emerges gradually through active engagement with life, not through passive waiting. Cal Newport, a researcher and author known for studying how people create meaningful lives, convincingly claims that passion and purpose are not innate qualities that, once identified, drive one's life. Instead, they are the results of acquiring real skills, becoming deeply involved with a practice over time, and achieving mastery that allows for meaningful contribution. In this perspective, direction is not something you find by searching inward for your life's purpose. Rather, it is something you develop through a deliberate, attentive process of building genuine expertise in areas of true interest and following that curiosity wherever it leads. This isn't a less inspiring model. It's a more genuine and empowering one because it shifts the control to you instead of outside forces. You're not waiting for a revelation. You're actively creating something through your choices, focus, and deep engagement with what truly interests you. The direction comes from the process of building, not before it. Direction doesn't demand certainty. The third myth to challenge is the idea that authentic guidance demands a certainty about the future that no one can have in a genuinely unpredictable world. People who seem most deliberately focused Those who have discovered their purpose and live it with full conviction rarely operate from a place of certainty. Rather, they act out of commitment. They choose to engage based on their best understanding of what matters to them, fully committing to their chosen direction and adjusting as their journey progresses. The commitment is sincere, but having absolute certainty isn't required. The freedom to commit wholeheartedly without needing certainty by declaring this as my best current direction, engaging fully with it, and staying open to revisions as I gain more insight is a highly liberating approach for those who have been waiting to feel sure before taking action. You won't feel certain initially. It's not that your direction is wrong. Rather, certainty about an untraveled path isn't accessible beforehand. True certainty develops after taking action through experience and engagement that confirm the rightness of your course. It results from doing, not from anticipation. Embrace commitment despite uncertainty. Proceed with honesty. Certainty comes after commitment, not before. You don't need to know the entire journey ahead. Focus on taking the next honest and sincere step in the most genuine direction you can now, paying close attention to what that step reveals. Each step will guide you to the next, creating a trail as you move forward. Remember, your direction isn't a fixed map before you start. It's the trail you create as you walk. You may not see it from your current spot. You can only discover it by moving forward. So, begin walking from where you are, heading toward what truly matters most to you right now. The path will unfold as you go. 7 strategies to discover your path. Understanding why it's hard to find direction and what it truly is can be unsettling. The practices that follow serve as guides, each acting as a different type of compass, practical tools to interpret the signals your life is already sending about the right path. Practice 1. Conduct the aliveness audit. The most reliable guide to your true direction is the inner felt sense of being genuinely alive. This embodied, immediate experience arises when you're engaged in something truly yours, something that leverages your genuine strengths, reflects your true interests, and generates a sense of deep, energized involvement that pulls you forward. This feeling is distinctly different from the dull, drained sensation of going through the motions with activities that don't resonate with you. The aliveness audit is a structured reflection on your recent experiences, emphasizing moments of genuine aliveness and deadness as indicators of direction. It does not currently focus on career paths or life roles, but instead examines how different activities, interactions, and contexts influence your sense of engagement. Reflect on the past month not by focusing on highlights, achievements, or visible successes, but by considering moments of genuine inner engagement. Remember times when you were so absorbed in an activity that time seemed to stand still. Think about interactions that energized you instead of draining you. Recall topics that, when discussed, made you lean in, crave more, and be reluctant to end the conversation or depart from the subject. Think of activities that, even if challenging, gave you a sense of fulfillment that easier choices didn't provide. These moments represent your most genuine data, unfiltered by assumptions or external influences. They reflect your true engagement with your experience, free from societal expectations, others' actions, or past labels. By listening carefully and honestly to this raw signal, you gain a clearer insight into your true direction than any external framework or assessment could provide. Write everything down, the major and minor details, both professionally important and seemingly insignificant. The patterns created by these notes reveal what genuinely captivates you. Recognizing what truly draws your interest brings you closer to understanding your true path. Practice 2. Extracting core values. The second compass operates at a fundamental level below preferences, skills, and the specific activities and roles identified in the aliveness audit. It relates to authentic values, what you truly care about, and what you naturally want your time, energy, and engagement to focus on. Values excavation differs from the typical values assessment, which involves choosing and ranking from a list of predefined values. That exercise helps identify what you believe to be important, what you find admirable, and what aligns with your identity. In contrast, values excavation delves more deeply. Consider the moments in your life when you felt a deep sense of pride. Focus on internal pride rather than visible achievements or external praise. Those instances when you looked at what you had accomplished, how you behaved, or what you contributed, and experienced a quiet, complete satisfaction that didn't rely on others noticing. What similarities do these moments share? What traits of action, contribution, or character do they exhibit? That particular trait, the one that, when shown, provides that subtle but true sense of fulfillment, indicates a core value. It also suggests examining moments of your deepest anger or grief, not minor frustrations, those intense feelings that, when triggered by violation or loss, cause pain disproportionate to the event's apparent importance. Such pain indicates what genuinely matters to you, as the violated or lost element reflects a core value. When you honor and express that value through your life and choices, it transforms into a primary source of meaning. Take the time to explore your experiences truly. Write in detail about moments of pride and grief. Look for recurring patterns and identify the values they reveal. Then, ask yourself, is my current path aligned with these values? If not, what path would be? Practice 3. The Curiosity Trail. This practice is based on a straightforward and useful idea. Genuine curiosity serves as a guiding compass. The topics you find yourself repeatedly, genuinely, and persistently curious about, not because you should be, nor because they're relevant to your profession, nor due to external interest, but because something inside you keeps attracting you to these subjects, eager to learn more, and naturally pulled back. No matter their practical significance, these are indications of something meaningful. The Curiosity Trail practice encourages intentionally noting and following genuine curiosity without requiring it to prove its significance beforehand or justify its pursuit toward a specific goal. What topics have you been curious about for years? Not just the subjects you studied temporarily for a course or project and then set aside. Instead, these are the topics that continually attract you, the ones you actively seek out, think about during quiet moments, and are drawn to in conversations. When you encounter these topics, they evoke a unique sense of interest that stands apart from your usual engagement with things you feel you should care about. Follow your curiosity without expecting it to have a clear endpoint, as the real purpose of curiosity is often unclear initially. Whether you're interested in city history, psychology, or material science, you can't always predict where your curiosity will take you at first. However, pursuing genuine curiosity, the steady, focused pursuit of what genuinely interests you, regardless of the outcome, is the most dependable way to create something that is truly your own and beneficial to others. Curiosity doesn't require being grand or specifically aimed at something. It simply needs to be genuine. Pursue it, document where it leads, and allow it to intersect with other genuine curiosities in surprising ways. When pursued with heartfelt focus, this path reveals a sense of direction that broader perspectives might miss. Practice 4. The Subtraction Experiment. This approach to practice differs by focusing not on clarifying your desires, but on eliminating what you do not want and observing what the removal uncovers. The subtraction experiment questions: if obligations, expected roles, habitual activities, and relationships maintained out of duty instead of genuine connection were removed, what would be left? What would you choose to keep because it genuinely belongs to you, not out of obligation or expectation? And what would you add, not for others' admiration, but because you truly feel drawn to it? This experiment does not mean eliminating all obligations. which is neither feasible nor desirable. Instead, it involves a creative act of subtraction, approached sincerely and thoughtfully, revealing insights about what truly matters. The life that persists after removing obligations often provides a clearer understanding of genuine direction than the one burdened by inherited roles and default choices. The subtraction experiment can also be applied at the activity level. Spend a week focusing on activities that leave you feeling relieved rather than satisfied after finishing. These are tasks you're glad to have completed, but not glad to have been doing activities that drain you rather than engage you. These are the subtractions, things that take up time and energy that true direction could use more effectively. Identifying them precisely is a crucial first step toward removing or reducing these activities. The space created by each subtraction is the space that genuine direction needs to flourish. Practice 5. Engaging in conversations with past selves. This practice is the most personal of the 7, likely to uncover truly surprising insights about your genuine direction. It entails intentionally revisiting earlier versions of yourself, such as the child, teenager, or young adult before practical adult responsibilities began to influence your priorities, and sincerely examining what those earlier selves understood that your present self might have missed. Children, before external influences shape their views on what they should desire, often have surprisingly clear and unfiltered access to their genuine preferences. Their spontaneous activities, done freely and without external prompts, those driven purely by internal motivation, frequently reveal a true sense of direction. This clarity is often obscured by the accumulated pressures and compromises of adult life. What childhood activity fully captivated you? Not the ones you excelled at or received praise for, but the ones you did simply for their own joy. What mattered most to your adolescent self, before the influences of career guidance and college applications, before adult practicality molded those interests into more socially acceptable pursuits? And what did your young adult self yearn for before they learned to want what was accessible, realistic, and approved by authority figures? These conversations aren't about revisiting simpler days, but about discovering the authentic self that existed before external influences molded it. The signals from those earlier versions remain present, sometimes subtle, obscured by practical compromises, but still recognizable if you pay close attention. When you reconnect with honesty and genuine care for what those signals reveal, they become some of the most reliable guides for an adult who has lost their path amid the fog of numerous obligations and external expectations. Practice 6. The small experiment. This practice is the quickest to implement among the 7, directly addressing the paralysis caused by searching for a final answer rather than focusing on the next step. The small experiment is exactly what it sounds like: a brief, low-pressure, time-limited exploration of an area of genuine interest or curiosity, done not to decide if it's the right path, but to gather real information about whether it's a possible direction worth exploring further. Someone unsure if they can contribute as a teacher doesn't have to quit their job or become a full-time educator. Instead, they can offer to teach someone a skill, subject, or area of knowledge this week, and honestly observe the level of engagement it generates. Likewise, a person questioning whether they are called to a creative practice doesn't need to label themselves as an artist. They can spend 30 minutes creating, whether writing, drawing, building, or composing, and sincerely reflect on how those 30 minutes feel internally. Small experiments produce tangible data that reflection alone cannot. The act of physically engaging in a task, even briefly, imperfectly, or in an early stage, offers a different kind of insight compared to solely imagining or reading about it. It reveals details about how well something fits, how engaged someone feels, and the genuine quality of involvement the activity generates. This kind of information, immediate, embodied, and firsthand, is especially valuable for anyone seeking their path. Try a small experiment each week, not necessarily for a specific goal, but driven by what genuinely sparks your curiosity at the moment. Follow your interests instead of expectations. Conduct the experiment, observe honestly, and let the results determine your next move. This isn't aimless wandering. It's a deliberate exploration, a sincere, mindful, and systematic process of discovering what truly resonates with you. Direction doesn't wait for enough thinking at the end. Instead, it emerges from your active engagement with the present moment. Every small experiment done with sincerity, every moment of real aliveness observed and documented, and every curiosity pursued without immediate justification, all these are steps toward understanding your direction. Not necessarily toward a visible destination yet, but toward the clarity that comes only through action. Trust in the process of walking. Trust in honesty. Believe that exploring your current territory with genuine attention will uncover insights that contemplation alone cannot reveal. Practice 7. The Direction Letter. This final practice integrates all the elements from the previous 6 into a physical, readable, and editable document, a living record of your best current understanding of your direction. It is not the final answer. The current answer is maintained with honesty and a sincere openness to revision as the exploration progresses. The direction letter is a note written to yourself in the second person, as if from a wiser, more patient version of you to your current self, feeling confused. It incorporates insights from the aliveness audit, values excavation, curiosity trail, subtraction experiment, conversations with past selves, and small experiments. These insights are combined to provide the most honest view of what genuine direction looks like for you at this moment. The letter isn't a detailed 5-year plan or a declaration of a specific career or life route. Instead, it outlines your general direction, the orientation, the main focus, your level of engagement and contribution, and the experiences that genuinely resonate with you. It clarifies what matters most to you, what consistently attracts your interest, and what kind of daily life would make you feel most authentic. It also recognizes what you haven't figured out yet and accepts the uncertainty honestly, rather than pretending there's clarity that hasn't emerged. Write it down, date it, and review it each month. Update it as new insights emerge during exploration. Allow it to grow more detailed as your understanding deepens through walking. Embrace genuine uncertainty where it exists. Use it as a compass, not a final destination guiding your next move, even when the entire path is unclear. The direction letter, crafted with sincere honesty and revisited with genuine attention, gradually becomes one of your most valuable documents. While it doesn't precisely outline your future, as it can't fully do so, each reading reveals how much your sense of direction has improved. It shows how much ground you've covered in your journey. It also highlights how much more authentic to yourself you've become through your searching. This tangible, dated, and specific proof of authentic orientation towards a life that increasingly and distinctly reflects you is an encouraging and practically useful asset for anyone feeling lost. What occurs when direction is introduced? I want to guide you to an earlier stage of understanding, not to the point of complete clarity that might be further ahead than we currently perceive. Instead, I aim to bring you to the early, near, and already in progress sensation of moving forward. It feels like it in daily life when the fog starts to clear and a sense of direction begins to emerge. Decisions become simpler. Even partial clarity in direction primarily enhances decision quality and speed. While major decisions remain complex and require careful thought, it is the daily, smaller choices regarding attention, time, and energy that form the core of everyday life. Without guidance, each decision demands a new assessment of value. Even partial guidance provides a reference point for many choices. Does this steer me closer to what I consider truly mine, or divert me from it? While this question doesn't resolve itself automatically, it transforms decision-making. Instead of being an exhausting, open-ended process without any reference, it becomes a more manageable comparison between the option and the guidance. Someone with a basic sense of orientation, such as whether they prefer working with people over systems, creating rather than managing, or understanding over building products, doesn't need to analyze every new opportunity or challenge in detail. They carry a mental compass. Though it might not be perfectly precise or always point definitively to one choice, it helps reliably distinguish what truly matters from what matters less. By consistently applying this distinction in daily decisions, a person naturally and gradually guides their life in a direction that feels authentic to themselves without needing dramatic changes. Energy transitions. The second consequence of authentic directional movement is a shift in the nature of daily energy. This isn't about increasing the amount direction doesn't extend your hours. Rather, it influences how energy is expended, depending on whether you resist your true self or align with it, thereby determining how much energy is released or held back. Someone who continually works against their true purpose experiences a steady, subtle drain that is often unnoticed. The daily wear from doing work that doesn't resonate, taking on roles that don't fit, and investing effort into things misaligned with their values results in real consequences. This manifests as fatigue and a sense of dullness in everyday life. Over time, this persistent tiredness can deepen into a profound exhaustion that rest alone cannot fully alleviate. As direction becomes clearer and daily choices genuinely reflect true purpose, the drain gradually lessens. This change doesn't happen overnight, but is noticeable over time. Work that's slightly more aligned feels less effortful, and engagement rooted in authentic values inspires a vibrant, forward-moving involvement that stands apart from the dullness of misalignment. The days seem different, not necessarily easier, but more vibrant and alive. The fog is now easier to navigate through. The third consequence is the most impactful, for someone feeling the deepest sense of being lost. While the fog remains, it becomes simpler to find your way. The fog of not understanding your full direction can be truly disorienting, especially when there are no reference points. When all directions seem equally unclear and your internal compass isn't functioning, practices like the aliveness audit, values excavation, curiosity trail, and small experiments help gradually restore your inner sense of direction. These methods don't aim for perfect calibration or complete clarity about the entire journey. Instead, they focus on the minimal essential, the ability to discern, in the present moment, what actions are more aligned with your goals, and what are less, distinguishing between steps that move closer to what truly matters and those that don't. The person capable of making that distinction, who navigates by the felt sense of engagement rather than a clear destination, is not lost. They may be in the fog, but they keep moving. With each step, the surrounding area becomes a little clearer, making the next step easier to see. The direction gradually becomes more defined. The fog doesn't lift all at once, but by moving sincerely and attentively, they reach a clarity that remaining still could never have achieved. Your direction doesn't emerge from a single insight. Instead, it develops through honest observations, experimentation, curiosity, and small, meaningful steps. Over time, the path becomes clearer, enabling you to walk confidently, then run, until it feels innate and shapes how you navigate the world. This journey is already underway, thanks to the sincere attention you've given to this dialogue. It will continue tomorrow with the first step you choose to take. The fog won't last forever. Your internal compass is already active, guiding you. You are already finding your direction by living it, one genuine step at a time. This conversation has marked significant progress. It began with honestly acknowledging the fog, the disorienting feeling caused by a lack of clear guidance, and then recognizing the real obstacles that hinder finding direction. We also freed ourselves from myths that blocked our search. Moreover, we identified 7 practical, honest, and easily accessible practices that serve as compasses in the fog. Lastly, we noticed the subtle transformation when direction finally appears not as an abrupt revelation, but as a gradual, earned clarity that dawns over time. I want to share with you the most honest thing I can about what you're experiencing right now. Not knowing your direction doesn't mean there's no path. It indicates you haven't yet put in the specific work necessary to discover it, such as honest, mindful, patient, and experiential effort. Direction isn't just about thinking or living it. It's about following authentic signals, conducting small experiments, and genuinely paying attention to what truly interests you and what doesn't. It also involves revisiting earlier versions of yourself who knew things your adult self has ignored because of expectations and practicality. You can start that work today. It's not a total life overhaul, but a small, honest step toward what matters most to you right now. The aliveness audit, the first experiment, the letter to yourself. Just one, today. Not expecting complete clarity, but to gather the initial data point in a pattern. With honest attention over weeks and months, this pattern will eventually clarify the direction with a level of detail and certainty that thinking alone couldn't achieve. You are not falling behind, nor are you broken or missing some key ingredient that others have and you lack. You're like someone in a fog without a compass, but just now you've been given several. The fog still lingers. However, you are different. The person with even one compass, a genuine, honest use of it, is not lost. They are simply discovering their way. Right now, you are actively doing this, engaging in this conversation with sincere attention to these questions and a real desire to uncover what genuinely belongs to you. This process is helping you discover your own path. The direction you're looking for isn't hidden in an unreachable place. It is shaped by how you engage with your current circumstances. By honestly noticing what truly matters, what genuinely excites you, and what truly calls to you while taking patient, courageous, small steps toward those things, even if the whole path isn't clear yet. You don't need the entire route. You never have. All that's required is the willingness to take the next honest step in the most authentic direction available now. That single step is enough. It will reveal the next and then the one after that. Begin now. Not when the fog clears, start within it, with the compass you have. Walking is how the fog lifts. Walking is how you find your direction. Walking makes a life truly, specifically, and irreducibly your own. Start with the initial step. The way forward is prepared for you. You are ready.